Hi, everybody. Welcome. This practice will be about a 20-minute sequence for caring for our low backs. And these are some of my favorite practices, my favorite physical practices, my favorite breathing practices to help support myself and my clients in caring for their low backs in regards to yoga practice and in general. I hope this gives you some relief. If it doesn't, please don't give up. There's a practice out there for you, I assure you. Um, so we'll give it a try. Today, if you have a strap, you bring your strap in. You can also use a belt, you can use a towel, you can get creative with your props. If you have a block, we may use a block as well. If not, that's okay. There'll be an option to practice without it. So let's get started. We will start on our backs, and there's a reason for that. Typically, when we're experiencing back tension or tightness, it's more beneficial to start a physical practice or physical movement on our backs. And this is because it gives the spine an opportunity to lengthen and be supported by the ground. A lot of people tell me that they naturally just gravitate to laying flat on the floor when their backs are in pain or tight. So it really is an intuitive response anyway. So it kind of makes sense that we would start our movement practice here as well. So you're welcome to do what feels comfortable with your legs. We're just going to breathe a little bit here. You can take what's called active rest. This is where the knees are bent and the feet are planted. And then we'll separate the feet about as wide as the mat. And then just let your knees gently knock in towards each other. And from here, you could take one hand at the belly, maybe right hand to the belly, and left hand to your chest, to your heart. And we'll just start to deepen our breath here. Just consciously bringing in a little bit more air in through the nose and exhaling out a little bit more air out of the nose too, if possible. Start to notice how your breath is arriving on the palms. Simply aware if there's anywhere in the body that feels tense or tight as you're breathing. It's a natural response when we're in pain to not really breathe fully. So there might be some constriction somewhere along the torso, perhaps the belly. So the yoga practice, breathing consciously, is very important. It's a part of the practice, especially when it comes to pain. We're starting to introduce smooth, deep breaths into the body. There was a study done on participants who just practice conscious breathing compared to participants who practiced physical therapy exercises for their backs. And both groups responded similarly. They both benefited. So we'll take about 4 more breaths here, a little bit more specific. As you breathe in, send your breath into the belly, up into the ribs and the chest. Let the belly puff up with air. And as you breathe out, releasing air from the belly, from the ribs, and from the chest. Breathing in, sending breath down and into the belly. Ribs expand out to either side, all the way up into the chest. And breathing out, slowly releasing air from the belly. Ribs draw back in towards the midline. Collarbones release slowly away from the face. Take your time to exhale completely. We'll do 2 more breaths. Great. Slowly releasing your hands when you complete your next exhale. Our first shape is going to be Banana Asana. We'll stretch our legs out long in front of us, and then we'll sweep our arms up overhead. So we're going to extend the vertebrae, giving some length in the spine. That's really helpful when we have back pain or tension or tightness. We might find that folding forward or flexing our spine increases some pain. So we want to get long first. So take your next inhale, stretch through the fingers, stretch through the toes. And then as you exhale, start to walk your feet all the way over towards the right corner of the mat. And then you'll walk your arms and your shoulders over towards the right corner of the mat as well, stretching the side body here. Keep the left side body on the floor. If you need a little bit more sensation, you could take the left ankle and cross it over the right. And then you can take the right hand to the left forearm wrist, pull gently towards the right, and then relax the shoulders. And if the gaze wants to, you can fall past the left arm. Beautiful. We'll keep the breath moving here. Take about 3 more breaths. All right, we'll slowly release the left leg and then start to walk your way back to center. Inhale, stretch and reach through the fingers and through the toes. And then as you exhale, journey on over to the left side. So walk your feet on over towards the left corner. You might come off your mat and then walk your arms over towards the left corner. Shimmy your shoulders towards the left corner. Banana Asana shape. From there, if you need a little bit more sensation, you could take the right leg and cross it on over your left. You can also take the left hand to the right forearm wrist and just do a little pull towards the left and then relax into your arms and your shoulders and let your gaze fall wherever is comfortable. Don't forget to breathe. We're sending our breath into the right side body. All right, well, unlatch that right leg. Slowly walk back to center. Inhale, reach through the fingers and toes. And as you exhale, release your hands down. Take your time to bend one knee and then the other into the chest, holding onto the shins or the backs of the hamstrings. And we'll just very gently start to flow here. So as you inhale, you'll move the knees away from the body so your arms can lengthen, or maybe you're reaching for the legs or knees. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows and pull the knees in towards you. So dynamic movement helps to warm up the back here. And technically, knees to chest is a forward fold action of the spine. So if folding over your legs doesn't feel good, you can still access that similar physiological shape by drawing your knees in like this. So we'll do this about 3 more times. Inhale for length and exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Inhale for length and exhale, bring the knees in. We'll do that once more. And this time, hold the knees into your capacity. Again, if that's a bit too much at the shins, you can always hold the backs of the hamstrings, pulling them in towards you. You might rock a little here, side to side, massaging the low back with the earth. Great, and then we'll ground the feet here. Here's where you might use your block. Sweep it towards me. You'll take the block between the thighs, any way that's comfortable. We just want to activate the inner thighs. So you can use a ball here or even a pillow or nothing at all. We'll just squeeze into the inner thighs. Draw the heels in as close as is comfortable towards your pelvis. We'll take the hands at the sides. We'll do some dynamic bridges here. We really want to be mindful, so take your time. Squeeze into the block, ground down through the soles of the feet as you inhale. Lift your hips up off the floor, but also sweep your arms up overhead. The lowering down, the undulation is where we are extra mindful here. Squeezing into the block, breath in. As you exhale, curl the tailbone up and in, and very slowly lower. Upper, middle, lower back, hips, and hands. So I was a little delayed there with the hands, but we'll get the hang of it. Squeezing into the block as you inhale, lift your hips up, sweep your arms up overhead, stretch and reach through the fingers, curl tailbone up and in, and then exhaling, slowly lowering upper, middle, lower back, hips, and hands. So it's a bit of an undulation of the spine, squeezing into the block, inhaling, sweep your arms up, curl tailbone up and in, exhaling, slowly lower upper, middle, lower back, hips, and hands. We're going to do this 3 more times, pressing into the earth. Engage the inner thighs or squeeze that prop there. Hips up, curl tailbone up and in. Take your time to lower on an exhale. Upper, middle, lower back, hips, and hands. We'll do that 2 more times. Squeeze the block. Inhale, sweep up, lift up. Curl tailbone up and in, exhaling, lowering. Take your time with this undulation. We lower the low back and the hips last. And you want to engage your glutes. Keep going here. You want to engage your glutes here in bridges, especially if you have low back pain. Engaging the glute muscles helps to support our back. Good. We'll do 1 more there. Squeezing into the block, sweep your hands up. Curl tailbone up and in, exhaling, slowly lower all the way down. All right, good. We're going to keep the block there if you do have it. If you don't, no worries. Hands stay at your sides, ground down through the feet, and inhale, lift up. Now, when we're caring for a low back, we don't want to press the hips to the sky and focus on getting a deep, deep back bend here. It's more about lengthening actually. So we can keep the hips slightly lower than the shoulders or in line with. Go ahead and shimmy the shoulder blades onto the back if that feels right for you. Keep engaging your glutes, your inner thighs, and your belly muscles. Maybe interlace your hands back behind you, pressing the thumb knuckle to the floor, heart and chest up and back. 2 more breaths. Slowly release your grasp, curl the tailbone up and in, and then as you exhale, lower all the way down, nice and slow. Good. We're going to take that block, just move it off to the side now. Good. And then from here, we're going to do 1 more variation of bridges. We're going to heel toe the feet about as wide as your mat or a little wider than hip distance. I call these glute bridges because they activate our glute muscles, our glute medius muscles, in a little bit of a different way. So our feet are wide, our knees are also wide. Ground down through the feet as you inhale, lift your hips up, squeeze the glutes at the top, that's the butt. And then exhale, slowly lower all the way down. And we're going to get a little bit more nuance there. As you inhale, lift your hips up, curl the tailbone up and in, send your pelvis to the sky. And then as you exhale again, you're going to undulate and lower slow upper, middle, lower back, and hips. Good, grounding down through the feet, inhaling, lifting your hips up to the sky. Curl tailbone up and in, and exhale, slowly lower upper, middle, lower back, and hips. Good, grounding down through the feet. Inhale, lift the hips up. Curl tailbone up and in. On your slow exhale, lowering upper, middle, lower back, and hips. 3 more there. Inhale, lift up. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Curl tailbone up and in. Exhale, slowly lower upper, middle, lower back, and hips. Good, grounding down through the feet. Lift up, press your hips up, squeeze the glutes, curl tailbone up and in, exhale, lower upper, middle, lower back, and hips. Last one, lift up. Curl it up and in, exhale, lower upper, middle, lower back, and hips. All right, good. Let your knees knock in here. Take a breath. Let your palms face up. All right, we're going to do one more thing on our back here for now. Heel to the feet back to about hip distance. We're going to do another knee to chest flow, but just one knee at a time. Inhale, breath. Exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. As you inhale, place your right foot back down, arms at your sides. As you exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. Good. And like that, as you inhale, plug the left foot down. And then as you exhale, draw your right knee in. Inhale, right foot down. Exhale, draw your left knee in. You can keep going like this, or if you want to, you can start to straighten the opposite leg. So the left leg would come long as you draw your right knee in. Inhale, right leg long. So now you got to activate your belly muscles a bit more as you exhale, draw in. As you inhale, active core muscles, left leg long. Take your time to breathe. Exhale, right knee in. Inhale, right leg long. Exhale, left knee in. Good. Inhale, right leg long. Exhale, left knee in. Good. We're going to do 2 more to each side. Inhale, right leg long. Exhale, left knee in. Inhale, right leg long. Exhale, left knee. Good. 1 more to each side. Good. And then this time when the right knee comes into the chest, we'll hold here, drawing the right knee into the chest. Keep reaching out through the left foot. Go ahead and roll your right ankle. And then the other direction. Good. We're going to press the low back towards the floor. Let the foot relax and draw the knee in. As you exhale, 2 more breaths. All right, right leg comes long, left knee hug it into the chest. You can go ahead and roll your left ankle in one direction and then maybe the other. And then let that left foot relax. A couple more breaths here, inhaling, breathing into the belly and low back. Exhaling, hugging left knee in a little deeper. Inhaling, breathing into the back. Exhaling, hugging in a little deeper. All right, release that left foot, plant it to the floor. Bend your right knee, plant it to the floor. Roll to one side, whichever side you prefer. Press yourself on up. We're going to meet in a tabletop position, however you can get there. Our wrists are going to start out beneath our shoulders. Our knees are hip distance apart. We'll go into cat and cow shapes. Tucking the toes as you inhale, the belly releases to the floor. The chest lifts up, draw the shoulder heads back. As you exhale, tops of the feet press, curl the tailbone up and in, gazing inward to the navel. On your inhale breath, tuck the toes, lift the heart. On your exhale, tops of the feet press, curl tailbone up and in. So you can keep going like that. This is the traditional alignment for cat and cow. If your back is still feeling tight or tense here, I recommend to my low back care folks to open up your stance of your hands. So you might walk your arms up a little bit more towards the top of the mat and spread the hands a little wider than shoulder distance apart. And then this way, when you go into the arch, you might notice you have a little bit more space for the vertebrae of the back. So you'll inhale there. And then as you exhale, tops of the feet press, curl tailbone up and in. And like this, if you want, you could stick with this new alignment, or you'll go back to the wrist below the shoulders. Exhaling, curl tailbone in, gaze in. And we'll do about 3 more there. Inhaling, tucking toes, lift the heart. Exhaling, tops of feet press, gaze in. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. The last one here. All right, come on back to neutral. We'll take our hands now back into alignment, wrists below shoulders. Tuck the toes. Start to send your hips back to your heels for downward facing dog. We'll slowly lift the hips to the sky. Now, in downward dog, you can adjust your shape here. Typically, in downward dog, our feet are hip distance and we work our knees straight with a little micro bend. If your back is feeling tense or tight, oftentimes the hamstrings also feel tense or tight. So you can start to separate your feet a little wider. Now that's up to you. You can bend your knees in down dog. Wrap the outer upper arm bones in. Draw your chin back towards your throat. We'll stay here and breathe. You're welcome to move a little bit if it does feel right. So you'll bend one leg and lengthen and press into the opposite heel. And just switch sides like that at your own pace. Couple more breaths in down dog. All right, come back to neutral downward facing dog shape and inhale your way into a plank. We'll stay there for a breath or so. Active through your belly muscles. From there, slowly release your knees. Tops of feet press, and we're just going to make our way to the belly. You can let the elbows graze the side body to lower. Then press your forearms out in front of you. We'll make our way into Sphinx back bending shape. Your feet go back to hip distance. To set up for Sphinx, wrap your fingers around to your upper arm bones. And that's just about how wide we want our elbows. So it's typically a little bit more narrow than you think. And then releasing your forearms to the floor. Now, the further the elbows are towards either side of your chest, typically the deeper the back bend. If that's compressing the vertebrae of your low back a bit too much, you can always lessen your back bend by walking your elbows up towards the top of your mat and softening in a little bit more in the back. Okay, so find what feels okay for you to hold. We'll activate through the legs. Press into the tops of the feet, shift the pelvis into the floor, slightly engage in your glute muscles. Draw the shoulder heads back. Feel the rib cage float up towards the chest, chin back towards your throat, keeping the back of the neck long, caring for our neck as well. Connect to your breath here. Sphinx pose is designed to help normalize the back curves over time and with practice. I did this back bend towards the end on purpose after we've warmed up our spine. So if you're currently experiencing back tension or tightness, you might want to do this in the middle or towards the end of your practice. Couple more breaths here. Okay, from there, start to walk your elbows up until you can relax your forehead down onto the mat, maybe onto your hands. We'll bring your hands to either side of the chest, tuck the toes, press up onto the knees, make your way into a brief child's pose. Knees nice and wide, two big toes towards each other. Stretch your arms out long, and let your forehead connect to the floor. If it doesn't, you can always take one fist on top of the other and let your forehead connect to your fists. And we'll breathe there. All right, we'll lift up enough to slowly walk your hands back towards your knees, swing the legs around, and come to lay flat onto your back. Keep your strap or your belt or towel nearby. Take your time to lower. When you get there, bring your right knee in and take your strap around the ball mount of your right foot or maybe the center of the right foot and extend your right leg to the sky. A simple hamstring stretch here. Now your left leg can stay bent, or it can extend long into the mat. Active through that left foot. Try to give yourself equal amounts of slack on both sides. Draw your shoulders down to the floor. Bending up your knees is okay. Hamstring stretch is very nourishing for the back. You might even feel the stretch in your back. If not, opening up your hamstrings is very beneficial for supporting our spines. We're going to take about 4 more breaths here. Don't force it, but if it does feel okay to pull that leg in closer to you as you exhale, go for that. Okay, start to draw that leg forward a bit so you can start to bend the knee, plant the left foot once again, and then send the left foot into the strap, ground the right foot, and there you are on the other side. So you can keep your right leg bent or extend out through the right leg there, and you're on the other side. So it may be a little different, maybe not. Assess as you need to. Bend your elbows slightly, draw your shoulders to the floor. Relax your chest, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. And again, if it does feel right as you exhale, you can start to pull the leg in closer to you. You don't have to force it though. All right, we'll bend the knee so you can release the strap off to the side, plant the left foot and then the right foot, and we'll seal off with active rest, unless you'd like to let your legs come long for the Shavasana pose. Active rest, the feet are wider than the knees, and the knees knock in towards each other. You can come back with one hand at the belly, right hand at the belly, left hand at the heart. Smooth, deep breaths, just a couple deep breaths in and out. Simply noticing how you're feeling now in the breath and the body and the energy. No need to be a certain way, just noticing. And then you can release your arms at your sides. Nothing left to do here. We're just going to stay for a few moments. But if you have the time, I encourage you to pause this video and stay for as long as you like and rest. Rest is very important for dealing with any sort of pain or just in general for everyone. And if you haven't paused, whenever you're ready, slowly roll to one side. Use your hand to support you to get up. Don't rush. We'll come to sit crisscross. We'll take the hands together, thumb knuckle to the heart. I acknowledge your divine light wherever you are. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.